All right. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is Daily Vlog 2025, number 273. And today, we've got two massive Kickstarters that have just launched, and I have opinions on both of them. The first one, the one that I am significantly more excited about, Fabula Ultima is kickstarting their hardcover versions of their books, because right now you can get physical versions of the books. I believe they're all softcover. They might be. Let me look real quick. Okay, so going to actually look it up before I say the wrong thing. Yeah, so the book that I am familiar with for all of them is a softcover book, which is still great if you like physical copies. But the Kickstarter that they're doing right now is for a complete set of hardcover books and a bestiary and a lot of other shit. I was a little bit blown away when I saw just everything that's in here, because not only are they doing all four of the Fabula Ultima books, the core book, and then each one of the atlases, natural fantasy, high fantasy, and techno fantasy, and the bestiary volume 1. In addition to that, they have a bunch of different dice sets that you can get. You can get the GM pack in a physical version, which comes with the GM screen. I think that was already available before. I have the GM's pack, but I have digital everything for Fabula Ultima because it's expensive. And so, I've mentioned this before, Fabula Ultima tends to be one of the best kind of value for dollar TTRPGs that I've ever seen. Like, right now, if you wanted to just get the core book PDF, it's $17.90, so just under $18 on DriveThruRPG. It's nonsense that you can get a core book that is as densely packed as Fabula Ultima for less than $20. So they've always offered this really good great value. And this Kickstarter is interesting. You know, we'll get into that in a second. One of the other things that I found unique is the way that I found out that the Kickstarter was live. Because I knew that it was going to be live on the 30th already, but I got an email, not from Need Games, whom I'm on their mailing list. I didn't see the email from Need Games first. The email that I saw first and the tweet that I saw first was from Demiplane. Demiplane, aren't those the dudes that make like the D&D Beyond for not D&D, but actually it has D&D as well, so it's D&D Beyond for D&D, but it's not D&D Beyond? Yeah. You don't know why they were tweeting? Because if the Fabula Ultima Kickstarter could get 100,000 pounds, or not pounds, euros, sorry, 100,000 euros, they would unlock a Demiplane Nexus, and they've got over 300,000 euros. They would unlock, even more. Well, as of right now, with it only having been live for a few hours, they are at 414,661 euros, which translates to just under $500,000 US dollars. They've hit both of those. So the Fabula Ultima game is going to be on Demiplane. They're going to have their own Nexus, which is going to include, at least I'm hoping, a character creator, and other things that are useful. Right now, the only thing that they are specifically stating is going to be available is the Fabula Ultima core book and the Bestiary is going to be available on Demiplane. But if I know anything about the people over at Demiplane, they will be chomping at the bit to add a character creator and all those other fun things to it. Now, when I played Fabula Ultima for the mini campaign that I ran, we actually used the character sheets on Roll20, the official Fabula Ultima Roll20 character sheets. And they were absolutely fantastic. They made playing the game so simple and so easy. So it is my hope that Need Games, the people that publish Fabula Ultima, will follow suit with a lot of other TTRPG designers in making the link between Roll20 and Demiplane. Because again, the companies Drive-Thru RPG, Demiplane, and Roll20 are all owned by the same company. They're all the same company. So that's why there's that great integration between Demiplane and Roll20 right now. Because they're the same company. They don't have to worry about, licensing deals or anything. It's just the same company. So I'm hoping that becomes a thing. That being said, right now the only things that are being offered are the core book and the Bestiary on Demiplane. So officially, that's all that's going to be on there. I'm hoping there's going to be more than that, and I think we can almost guarantee that the other 3 books will eventually find their way on there, and more likely than not, we will probably get a character creator as well. So that being said, there are some downsides to the Fabula Ultima Kickstarter, and for me, the biggest one of those is this stuff is damn expensive. When I first saw this, I was like, ooh, this is really cool. What I would like to do, because again, I have digital copies of all the books. What I would like to do is I would like to get physical copies of all the books. Probably put them up there with the rest of my as a backdrop. Because I think they look really, really gorgeous. And again, they're some of my favorite games I've ever played. The problem with that, if I wanted to get a bundle that had all 5 of the books, including the Bestiary, the bundle that comes with all of that is 280 euros, which translated into US dollars turns out to about $329. I don't have $300 that I can spend on books that I already own. Combine that with the fact I don't particularly like the deluxe edition books, because all they are is the core book for the deluxe edition is a white book with a cool little border around the front and the Fabula Ultima gemstone in the middle. And that's it. There's no title. There's no nothing. It's just white with a kind of reddish orange crystal on it. And that's it. And each one of the other books, the high fantasy is red. I believe techno fantasy is blue. Natural fantasy is brown. And the bestiary is black. But when you look at the actual books themselves, they're gorgeous. Like the artwork on these books is absolutely insanely gorgeous. And the deluxe edition versions of the book just look bad. Like there's no other way to say it. And if I'm going to back and get something physical, I'm going to get the Amano artwork, which isn't available in the deluxe version. You have to get the regular version to get the Amano artwork. So that in and of itself, I'm not particularly fond about. Again, especially since Fabula Ultima has always been a really well-priced book. Like they have always priced their things significantly less expensive than anyone else on the market. So a lot of people, when they see these prices, are immediately kind of jump to, oh my God, they're selling out. They're not. And this is the problem with publishing in general. publishing hardcover books is expensive. Now, if you get really, really large orders, and we've talked about this before in other videos, if you get really, really large orders, you can get your cost per book down pretty far. But Need Games is not Wizards of the Coast. It's not even Paizo. So the likelihood of them being able to order in really massive batches is going to be relatively low. Second of all, they are an Italian-based company. And while I'm very familiar with the U.S. printing market, and I've become somewhat familiar with the Chinese printing market, I know nothing about the European printing market, or specifically the Italian printing market. So I don't know if it's actually literally more expensive to print things in Italy, if that's what they're going through, or if they're trying to go through a Chinese manufacturer, because the Chinese economy is going in crazy places right now. So is the European economy. Like, what is it? I think Germany is going belly up right now. And Germany, for anyone who doesn't know, as far as Europe is concerned, Germany had the strongest economy in all of Europe for a really, really long time. So the fact that Germany is having economic problems is a signal for basically the rest of Europe that something is going wrong from an economic standpoint. So you can actually add on each book individually if you don't want to buy that bundle for, again, US money, it's over $300. If you don't want to go that route, you can basically pledge for like a single book, because like their lowest physical book, you can get the Fabula Ultima core rulebook hardback for 45 euros, which is again about 53 bucks. Which, again, if we want to compare this to the physical release of, let's say, a Dungeons and Dragons book, which again, Wizards of the Coast, their cost for printing is significantly lower than anything that Need Games is going to be. So for a core book for Wizards of the Coast, you're paying what, 60 bucks normally? Let me look it up before I say the wrong thing. D&D Beyond Marketplace. D&D 101 collection. So Player's Handbook. So the physical version of the Player's Handbook is about 50 bucks. So for Need Games, their physical version is running about the same. Again, because this is being translated from euros into US dollars, prices are going to be a little bit different. But it's comparable with how much a book from Wizards of the Coast would cost. The big difference being every physical Fabula Ultima book comes with a PDF code in it. Whereas if I wanted the digital physical version of the Player's Handbook, I would need to fork over an additional 10 bucks. So it's $60 for digital physical for Wizards of the Coast. It's only $50 for Fabula Ultima. So that I'm okay with. And then you can actually add on a hardcover version of each one of the other books, like the each one of the hardcover expansions, the High Fantasy Atlas, the Techno Fantasy, and the Natural Fantasy Atlas. They all are about 42 bucks US. And then if you want to add on the bestiary, the regular let's try this again. Regular bestiary, that's going to run you again about $53. So about the same price as the core book. So doing some math, we get about $100 for the bestiary and the core book. and then $120 for all three of the atlases, brings it to around 230-ish when we factor in the additional dollars that we rounded off to make it easier. So around $230, you can get all of the books as add-ons without having to go through the bundle process, which is a little bit nicer. It's still more money than I can afford right now. My thought right now is I am probably going to get what's called the Level Up bundle, which basically gives you well, here, I'll just read what they have here. One printed copy of the core rulebook in standard hardback edition, one printed copy of the Bestiary Volume 1 in standard hardback edition, and one item pack with a dice set included. Once the campaign is over, you will be able to select your favorite core rulebook cover art, the original Morio, or the Kickstarter exclusive Yoshitaka Amano. PDFs included, available in English or Italian. So, with that, again, it runs about $150, which is more than I would like to pay. But I think because I'm just about done paying off the sump pump, I should be able to wiggle that amount of money somehow. Because not only will that get me the core book and the bestiary, it also gets me the demi-plane versions of both of those. And it allows me to get the Yoshitaka Amano cover art, which is the real reason I would be doing this. Like, if it wasn't for the demi-plane versions being included in the Level Up bundle, because I'm getting the demi-plane versions. Like, that's just happening. If it wasn't for the demi-plane versions being included in the Level Up bundle, I probably would just get the just regular core rulebook, because it still allows me to get the Yoshitaka Amano cover art. And then add on the bestiary and just be done with it. But I think the additional stuff, including like a dice set, I think that would be very cool as well. That's what I'm thinking of getting. Again, I have to have the money for that, so I'll have to check my finances very carefully to make sure. But that's what I'm thinking of. So, yeah, I'm excited about this Fabula Ultima Kickstarter. I still think, as much as, yes, it is very expensive, I still think it's a good value. Because, again, printing in general is expensive. And especially if you're doing full-color, hardcover printing, it's just very expensive. The stuff that they were doing before was print on demand. Which is a whole different beast. Would I like to see the books probably about $10 cheaper? Yes. Do I think that would be economically viable? I don't know. Again, every interaction that I've had with Need Games and the guy that created this, that I can never remember his name, he's a cool dude though. They do not seem to be very money driven. Like, they very easily could have sold the PDF of their core book for like $25, and it still would have been a great deal, and they didn't. So I have serious doubts that this would be something that is monetarily focused. I think they are probably selling it at the lowest cost they can afford, while still taking into account, and this is another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, when you are doing a Kickstarter takes, I think it's 5%, maybe 3%, somewhere in there, 3 to 5%. I'd have to look again. They take a cut. That's all I know. So anything that you do, you have to factor in, where is their cut going to be coming from this? You know, is it going to come from our profits? Is it going to come from the pledges themselves? How are we going to deal with that? In addition to that, and I do not know tax law in Italy, but when you get a large lump of money like this, you have to pay taxes on it. And it's one of the things that can actually screw over certain crowdfunding campaigns, because if you set your goal too low and you just barely make your goal, and you don't factor in uh, the Kickstarter cut and then your taxes, you can actually end up losing a significant amount of money on a Kickstarter. That's why setting that goal is so important for a number of different reasons. So yeah, I would love for it to be about $10 cheaper per book. I don't know if that's doable, and from all the interactions I've seen and I've had with this company, I think that they're probably doing this as low as they can. Yes, slightly upsetting that it's more expensive than I would have liked, but it's a fantastic system. So if you can back it, they're wonderful people. Now, the next Kickstarter that launched today is from a relatively unknown company. Let's see if I can get their name right. Darrington Press. Which is very cool that this small little independent company is Darrington Press has launched their Daggerheart class packs. And this one I am significantly less impressed with. First things first, I don't really have a use for these class packs. The class packs, if you're unfamiliar with what they are, what the class packs are is they have the Daggerheart cards, which I have an entire set of Daggerheart cards. They're right up there. For each one of the classes. So it'll have the subclass cards for the class, and then they will have both the domains for that class in that card pack. According to here, I'll just read what they have here. Each Daggerheart class pack contains 76 cards with everything an individual player needs to play their chosen class from level 1 all the way up to level 10. Ancestry cards, community cards, subclass cards, and all the domain cards from two of the powerful domains that the pack's class calls upon for their unique abilities. Plus, each pack comes with a PDF excerpt from the core rulebook with all the information you need to make a character of that class. So, kind of interesting, kind of cool, but it's literally just cards. And not only that, it is just cards that already exist. They do not need to create new dies for these, or anything like that. Like the company that makes the cards just prints them more cards. So, how much do you think it would cost for one of these class packs, which is again just 76 cards? Well, let me tell you. Each one of the card packs, you can buy them individually through this Kickstarter for $25 a piece. Or if you want all 9 of them, you can get all 9 for $175, which is about $50 less than buying each one individually. Basically, you get 2 packs for free. That is nonsense. Again, I've become relatively familiar with the printing industry in the U.S. because of all this tariff nonsense and board games and all that stuff. I know for a fact, despite the fact that the cards that Critical Role prints are not like your standard playing cards. Like, they use a hell of a lot more ink because each one has artwork on it and stuff like that. However, the idea that 76 cards can cost $25 is nonsense. Again, for the cost of 2 packs, you can get an entire core rulebook in hardcover plus a PDF copy of it for the cost of 2 of these card packs. And the actual game that came with the card packs, if I remember correctly, was only like $60 or $70 for all of the cards. Like, I don't understand where they got this idea from. Again, Kickstarter takes a cut. There, you have to pay taxes on what you get from Kickstarter as well, but you also have to pay taxes just on stuff that you sell as a company. And the fact that this company does other stuff, none of this makes sense. First of all, Darrington Press did not need to kickstart this. They didn't kickstart Daggerheart. I don't believe they kickstart Candela Obscura, did they? According to Kickstarter, this is the first Kickstarter that Darrington Press has done. I'm actually going to check this out real quick. Candela Obscura. Did they kickstart that or? Yeah. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. I don't believe they kickstarted Candela Obscura. And I don't believe they kickstarted Daggerheart or anything like that. So it's, again, the idea of crowdfunding is supposed to be so that people that can't go the traditional route of funding something can go through crowdfunding and be able to get startup costs through that. And it's a fantastic thing. Darrington Press does not need Kickstarter to be able to produce these. First of all, nothing that they're making here, aside from like the boxes they come in, is new. This is all material that has already been created, and they're just packaging it different. And they can afford to do that without running a Kickstarter. So this Kickstarter is literally just them exploiting a crowdfunding platform in order to use it as a way to get pre-sales and pre-orders, which, again, Darrington doesn't need to do. They very easily could have put pre-orders up on the Critical Role store and, first of all, wouldn't have had to deal with Kickstarter in any way, shape, or form, and they probably would have made a similar amount of money. So again, the only thing that I can see here is they're trying to kind of capitalize, because one of the things that you can't do through a pre-order system that Kickstarter does very, very well is Kickstarter creates a lot of hype, and it makes funding things like this very, very exciting. And excitement makes people buy more things. And there's also the FOMO aspect of, well, if I don't buy it now, then, you know, I might not be able to get something special from this or anything. Also, fun fact about the Daggerheart Kickstarter, there are no stretch goals for this. Nothing about this feels like Kickstarter was necessary. There's shit tons of stretch goals for Fabula Ultima that I didn't go through, but look through them. Lots of them are really, really amazing. The demi-plane was only one of dozens of Kickstarter stretch goals that they have, a lot of which they've already hit. So yeah, I am not going to be investing in this. Again, I have all the cards. I don't see $25. Like if I was to do an in-depth review of these cards, I would not be able to justify $25 for 76 cards. It's just not worth it. Yeah, I do find it kind of interesting. So, it's only been live, again, for less than a day. I don't know exactly when it launched. But since it launched, they have a $100,000 goal. They have not even hit their funding goal yet. It launched, I believe, at a similar time that the Fabula Ultima Kickstarter launched. And the difference is Fabula Ultima Kickstarter just passed $500,000 or 428 euros. Or 428. Yep, a euro's worth $1,000, guys. 428,000 euros. So Fabula Ultima is well on its way to breaking $1 million. The Daggerheart class pack is definitely going to hit their $100,000 goal. I sincerely doubt they're going to hit $1 million. I think they'll be lucky if they hit 500,000. despite the fact that they're going for 30 days, whereas Fabula Ultima is only going for 23. Like, it's. I am a huge Critical Role supporter. I have been since the beginning. I love Darrington Press. I love Daggerheart. I ran a Daggerheart mini campaign earlier this year and had an absolute blast. I plan on playing Daggerheart again. I think it's a phenomenal game. I cannot support this Kickstarter because it goes against everything that I believe as far as crowdfunding goes. I think crowdfunding is an absolutely phenomenal tool for smaller creators that can't go the traditional funding route. And I think it's an absolute insult to everybody when a major corporation uses Kickstarter to basically as a pre-order and hype system when they don't need it, because it stops systems and companies that actually need this from not only being seen on platforms like Kickstarter or BackerKit or anything like that, but it's also taking away money from them, because again, the hype aspect and everything, people will spend more money than they normally would to be, to resist that, or to avoid that FOMO. And so I 100% support Critical Role, 100% support Darrington Press, 100% support Daggerheart. I cannot recommend that you back this. This is such a bad look for them, in my humble opinion. This just reeks of greed for nothing else. And again, I sincerely doubt that there's someone at Darrington going, how can I get all of the monies? No, I think they knew Daggerheart was going to be popular enough for them to justify spending their own money to make it happen. However, these class packs have a significantly more narrow market, and so there's a very good chance that these were not going to be viable to do a complete print run in. And so I think that they decided, well, if we do Kickstarter and we make the goal the right amount, then we can see how many people are interested in this. And as long as we have enough people to kind of break even, then we'll do this, which is not what Kickstarter is for. And again, this whole thing just seems poorly designed. There's only two kinds of pledges you can buy. You can buy all of the packs, or you can buy one of the packs. And that's it. They could have made a bunch of different donation tiers. They could have added more than just class packs to make this more interesting. There are no stretch goals. There's nothing. This is the laziest Kickstarter I've ever seen in my life. And again, my humble opinion, they just don't need this. Whether or not they think they could justify doing a single print run of all of these the things, Darrington Press and Critical Role specifically, more Critical Role than Darrington Press, could absorb any potential loss from these cards without too much difficulty. Like, this would be the same thing if I saw, like, Wizard of the Coast, kickstarting a new Eberron book or something like that. No, they don't need it. Obviously, Wizard of the Coast significantly bigger than Critical Role and Darrington Press and stuff like that. And I've made mention before, Darrington Press is not exclusively Daggerheart. They make board games and all this other stuff, and all that is expensive. But they're making enough money, especially off of Daggerheart specifically. They're making enough money that they could have taken a chance on this. And I sincerely doubt, if they had just done this through pre-orders, I sincerely doubt that they would have lost money on it. Daggerheart is so popular, and again, there are other ways to make sure that they sell enough to break even and start making a profit on it, including doing things like doing sponsorships with YouTubers, which they've already been doing, YouTubers and streamers, which they've already been doing with Darrington. So it wouldn't have been very difficult for them to just go, hey, if in one of these episodes you put in an ad for the class packs, we'll give you another like 5% over what we've paid you for each time you do that. Like, that would be super, super simple. They would make back the money pretty quickly. Everything about this upsets me. And again, I hate that I'm saying this because I really, really like Daggerheart. I really like Critical Role. I really love Darrington Press. But $25 for 76 cards in a PDF is not okay. They sold spell cards for 5th edition. I have all of them. Each one of them ran, if I remember correctly, they ran somewhere between like $9 and $15. And there were more than 76 cards in them. Yeah, paying $25. Again, these are much prettier cards. They have a lot more ink on them. They have artwork on them. They're not worth $25. It's just, Anyway, interested to hear from you guys. First of all, how many of you guys are excited about the Fabula Ultima Kickstarter? I am super, super psyched. If you back within the first 48 hours, you can get a free patch that has the Fabula Ultima gem on it. It's a cloth patch, so it doesn't have an actual gem on it, but the symbol for Fabula Ultima is called the Fabula Ultima gem, so that's what it means. Are you excited about that? And then, what do you guys think about the Class Packs Kickstarter? Do you think I'm being too harsh on them? Do you agree with me that like this is a bad look for Darrington Press? Again, do you think this is a great value? Do you think $25 is a great deal for these cards? Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, again, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.